You're listening to the Ordinary Joe's podcast with Joe D and Eric B. Ordinary Joe's podcast.
All right, we are back after a couple weeks of not putting out a podcast. Things get crazy. We have real lives outside of the podcast. So when things don't come into fruition, you guys have to wait. I apologize for the wait, but guaranteed we got some good stuff that we're going to bring you guys today. And
yes, we do. Again,
being that it's Holy Week, Palm Sunday was just a couple days ago. It's going to be interesting.
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, sorry for everyone who got me baptized and had to drink the holy water. Yeah. I didn't drink the holy water, but
You're not supposed to drink it, Eric.
Dude, God, I haven't been there in a while. Huh?
You just walk in, scoop a little bit when you. It's hot out there.
All right, guys. We're going to get to the topic very shortly, but first we're going to go ahead and do the whole, I am Eric B.
I'm Joe D, and we are the Ordinary Joes.
Ordinary Joes. All right. All right. Kept you guys waiting long enough. So today we're going to talk about Darwin's theory of evolution versus Adam and Eve.
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know what sounds, but... That's
it's Twilight Zone, or
it's either that or I go.
yeah.
I don't know.
Go with the other one.
Sorry.
All I have is a drum roll, so that won't work either. So
it could work. So for you guys who don't know the difference between Darwin and Adam and Eve, a lot of Catholic Christians believe Adam and Eve were the first two to walk on earth. They're the first ones to evolve. The whole story that God made man, took one of Adam's ribs and made woman, and then they evolved into, what we are now. So Darwin's theory was more that we all came from reptiles and slowly evolved into man, So we'll talk about what we believe in and what, who believes in what. So Joe, go ahead. You always kick it off for us. Go ahead and kick this one off for us.
Yeah. So, let me start off by saying, not trying to offend anyone when it comes to, especially religion, things like that. People have very strong beliefs, and we're just having an open conversation, the kind of what could be, not intending to hurt anybody's feelings. But with that said,
well said, Joe. Well said.
Thank you. Growing up, I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school. So I was taught about Adam and Eve and all, that's how man was created. God created man and women, like you said. And, for a long time, that's what I believed. But then I'd say, I don't know, maybe around my 20s, I start, you start getting older, you start questioning things and, questioning life and asking all those kind of big, deep life questions. Yeah. And of course, I love science, and that's when I started learning about Darwinism and theory of evolution and all that stuff. And, you can't help but ask the question, like, well, I mean, this science can't be wrong, right? This is actual proof, for the most part. I mean, maybe there's some questions here or there, but when it comes to certain things, we pretty much have the answers right in front of us.
Yeah.
And so when we first decided we were going to talk about this, I had mentioned to you, I was like, well, I think I kind of, like, over the years, I've always thought about this stuff. And I think I kind of have some sort of like, I don't know, like something where you can meet in the middle, like a compromise, right?
Okay.
So, hear me out, right?
Yeah, okay.
So when, the story of the creation story, right? God said, for those of you that don't know in the Bible, they have the creation story, and they said God created earth and universe and everything in 7 days. The animals, 7 days, right? Well, I'm sorry, 6, and then he rested on the
rested
7th.
On the 7th, yeah.
That's why we go to church on Sundays. So, God starts off, says, let there be light, right? I believe that's how it was. And then he creates the seas and land, creates the animals, and then creates Adam and Eve, right? And then from then, the man, human beings as we know it, spawned from these two people. Now, I think growing up, a lot of the Bible isn't taken literally, right? You got to read
Yeah.
between the lines, and you kind of get the overall story. Now, what if, right? The creation story is just explaining what we know as science, like the Big Bang Theory, right? God says, "Let there be light." That's the Big Bang Theory that created the stars and matter and everything that we know to be in the universe, so that we know anyway. Right. I got the alien on.
Okay.
Sure. Right. So
Moon landing.
yeah.
For you guys who are not watching or listening, Joe's talking about the Big Bang, and I posted on my Marvel shirt because Marvel, and he's showing his alien on the moon.
On
if
the
you guys
moon.
listen to our last
Photo
podcast.
bombing.
Sorry, Joe's getting religious.
Right.
I was getting into it. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
So let there be light. That could have been the Big Bang, right? And in science, they said Earth at one point was just water, right? And then from that spawned land and the right particles or whatever we needed in the right temperature to create animals. Now, in the Bible, it says God created the animals as we know it. What if the animals God created first were the dinosaurs, not the animals as we know it? And when he created man, what if that's just a way of saying, over time we evolved into man? At least that's my way of looking. Like, I feel like religion and science can kind of work hand in hand. One explains the other,
Okay.
At least that's how I feel. And I don't know, your thoughts on it, but that's kind of what the conclusion I've come to over time is that, science just explains what we read in the Bible.
Oh,
it's a lot. I know it's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But okay, for you guys, again, Joe gave the disclaimer. I apologize for you guys if I hurt people's feelings, especially the religious ones. My whole thing is, I believe there was an Adam and Eve. There was, a person named Adam, person named Eve. But I also believe with Darwin's theory and, reading off everything right now on Darwin's theory, Darwin's, so for you guys who are very religious, right? They say if you believe in the caveman and you believe in the dinosaurs, I don't know why I say caveman that way. If you believe in the caveman and the dinosaurs, then you don't believe in Adam and Eve.
Right.
That's what a lot of people, especially true Catholics, says. But my thing is, there's proof that there's cavemans and dinosaurs that roamed the earth. And I'm not just talking about Jurassic Park, the movies. I'm talking about there's fossils, there's bones, there's the evolutions from Neanderthal to caveman to, Homo erectus, which we're supposed to be, right? So was Adam and Eve just maybe cave people that, someone decided, hey, we're going to make it a little more religious? Because, you look at a caveman, what are you thinking? You're looking at people who are like dirty, who are, they don't have, this. And being a Catholic, you don't want to be known as like, I don't want to be an ancestor of a caveman because, these people are like dirty and they're like, cannibals at some point, right? So maybe someone decided later on, let's change this caveman theory and let's make it Adam and Eve. And let's make it more elegant. They're in a pasture and But my thing is, there's no proof. Besides the biblical things that we're reading, there's no proof that Adam and Eve was actually the first, beings on Earth.
Yeah.
And this is where the whole Darwin versus Adam and Eve theory starts coming in. And again, like you, Joe, growing up, I was implanted in my head that Adam and Eve, But then as I got older and I started learning how to read evolution, it's like, wait a minute, who the hell is this Darwin guy? And what the hell is he writing about?
Right.
He's one of the guys who wrote some of us who left supposedly we came from tadpoles, so some of us who didn't want to go and become tadpoles or become Homo erectus or walking on 2 feet stayed in the ocean or stayed in the water, whatever. And those are supposedly mermaids. I don't know. I mean,
It's coming full circle.
It's coming full circle. Exactly. So I don't know, man. I'm just like, I believe in Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
but I only believe what I read. But, again, there's no proof or no evidence
Right,
that Adam and Eve
existed. I was just wanting to hop on that point. In school when I was younger, learning about religion and Jesus and all. I don't think it was still kind of sort of mythical for me. You know what I mean? Just all the stories of the Bible and everything. Then I got older, and I start to read, like you said, and find out that, oh, wait a minute, Jesus actually did exist. That for me was mind blowing when I found out that Jesus actually was a person that existed, that people knew. It's documented. It's in other religions. The Muslim religion acknowledges Jesus. So, for me, it's like, well, okay, there's proof that he existed. Where's the proof of Adam and Eve? And then that means, scientifically, everyone on Earth should share some sort of, DNA. Something where, like, what's the, if they're doing this, everyone's doing the DNA stuff now, or they're sending stuff in to find out what their background is. I mean, there's got to be one common denominator if we're all from the same 2 people, unless aliens, stop by throughout the course.
Okay, I got it though. But see, okay, now going back to that, and you pretty much nipped it in the bud. That means we're all related one way or the other, right? We're all related one way or the other. Now, if you did the ancestry.com and you did the whole nasal swab and you sent it out, pay that $50, none of us, or the people that I know who's done it, none of them is coming back as from Nazareth or wherever they're from, Jerusalem or wherever they're from. None of them came back to like, this is where your ancestries are from,
Right.
Most of them who did it, it's usually Filipino, you guys are from Mexico, you guys are from Thailand. The ones who really did it, that's where their ancestries are from. So if Adam and Eve did do something to where we, evolved humanity and we created life on Earth, why is none of our DNA going back to that? Yeah. Why is none of our DNA going back to, where they came from?
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be an ongoing question for a lot of people. And there's going to be one of those things where that's why there's this topic between, the Darwinism versus Adam and Eveism or whatever it is.
Right. So. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's been something that's been debated for 2,000 years.
Yeah, forever. And it's like someone brought it up to me last week when I was going into this whole topic and this whole religious thing. Someone said, not to like down your Catholicism, but being a Catholic is just like being in a cult, right? They want you to believe certain things, so they want you to pray to one God, pray to this God. And Catholics, and I never realized this, when they said Catholics, when you go to a Catholic church, you have God in the middle, right? And then you have, the Guadalupe of, I forget her name, on one side. So it's like, you can't go to a Catholic church and just pray to one God. There's other gods or deities in there that you can pray for. So they're like, so it's a cult, it's kind of a cult. They want you to believe that Adam and Eve was the first, beings on earth. They want you to believe that, God's almighty and powerful, right. Because they want to give you some kind of uplifting spirit to believe in, which I guess growing up I did, but there's also times where, I prayed to God and he didn't answer,
Yeah. I mean, I guess that could be said about any religion. If you think about it, technically any religion is a cult. You have, for the most part, masses of people following one person or a deity or, priests or whatever. But again, I feel like, I definitely feel like there's a higher power. And I don't know. I think human beings always are looking for an explanation and a way of explaining things. And I feel like we all, or anyone that believes in a God, no matter what religion you are, I feel like we're all believe in the same deity. I just
Yeah.
think just like we have different cultures and different music and food, I think we all just have different ways of essentially praying to the same being. Now, what that being is, if it's a he, her, it, they, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't think I find it the one thing in science that I find hard to believe is that life is just random, just started for no reason and just I don't know. That's a big waste of energy just for
Yeah.
no reason. I feel like there's a purpose and there's something out there powering it. I just don't know what. And I'm willing to keep my mind open, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Although I am Catholic, mom, and I believe in Jesus. I'm just saying, I feel like God or whatever is out there gave us science as a way to kind of maybe answer some of the questions that are just too crazy for us to understand. You know,
It's a crazy way to think about it, but man, you're right. I mean, from the Big Bang to, I mean, the Big Bang. I mean, if you watch a lot of Marvel movies, that's why when you said the Big Bang, I pointed at my shirt.
Mm.
When they talked about the cosmic, the Big Bang, that's supposedly the whole start of evolution of man, right? The Big Bang. Um, but there was something I was reading where the Big Bang was also the end of an evolution because the way the cosmics, did that, it ended an evolution that helped us start our evolution. So we can be talking about Big Bang and that it could have destroyed the evolution of the people on Mars, because I mean, I'm pulling teeth here, but that's what some people's theories are, where the Big Bang started what we have here, but also ended what other people had somewhere else. I mean, whether, it's aliens, whether it's not, I don't know. But again, Darwin's theory, man, just the way he wrote everything, there's proof of that evolution. And yeah, there's proof of Jesus Christ. Everyone says, Jesus Christ, if there's no Adam and Eve, then there's no Jesus Christ. But there is proof of Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, they're finding artifacts of the cross as we speak. They found his shroud. Oh. Yeah, well, they're finding little here and there.
Mm-hmm.
They found the shroud that he was wrapped in.
Yeah.
So those are true facts that, okay, I believe in that. I believe that he was murdered, or killed.
Mm-hmm.
But we got to go back to further than that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Adam and Eve, were they the fathers, the mothers, the aunts, the uncles of, who we are right now? And again, I can't go back and say yes because of what Darwin's put out there. Yeah. And again, for you guys, my family members, I apologize, but there's proof with Darwin's theory.
Right.
I'm not saying that there's no God. There is a God. Mm-hmm. Jesus Christ was there. But I say Darwin's theory started Adam and Eve, and Adam and Eve wasn't the first,
right,
beings on Earth.
Yeah,
but,
I mean it's hard when you have proof, and you mentioned the shroud. That's one of those cool artifacts. I've seen a few documentaries on that, and what Eric's referring to is the. After they crucified Jesus, they brought him down and his body down, and they put him in a cave, and they wrapped him in this. I think it's linen or something like that, or silk, and they wrapped him in it. And not to get too deep into the religion, but he dies and he rises 3 days later. And when they go into the tomb, he's not there. The only thing that's left there is the shroud. Sure. Now they have. This shroud is in Turin, Italy, I believe. Yeah. I don't know the church that it's in, and they've done tests, like scientific tests on this thing, and the carbon dating, all that adds up. It's from that time. I don't know if they were allowed to get any of the part with the what they think is the blood. Because the Vatican is really strict on letting anybody just chop this thing up. It's too precious of an artifact. But there's a few documentaries out there that are really interesting, and the things that they find, a lot of inconclusive stuff, and they can't really explain
Yeah.
some of the stuff, and they use like all these kind of sonograms and kind of
Yeah.
X-ray machines to actually like show the image even more. And that's the other thing I should say. I completely forgot to say that apparently on this shroud you see the image of Jesus formed in blood, and they've done tests and they've done X-rays, and it looks, for what it's worth, like a man who has the image of that we know of as Jesus today, which it's pretty crazy, man. It's cool.
Man, I mean, I'm reading it right now and just reading everything about it. It's just like, wow, man. But see, this is what I mean. There's proof. There's proof. And then they did the whole like you said, they carbon dated it. They tested it. As far as the whole DNA test, I don't think they, you're right. The Catholic Church didn't want to do any of that.
Right.
But there's proof. This is the proof that I need to say, okay, Jesus did exist. Jesus did exist. But then again, going back to, well, Jesus was supposed to be, from Adam and Eve, because Adam and Eve was the first one that brought us to this world that we're in right now. I just, for me, it's just really hard. I mean, if you can find me proof, proof. I mean, the storyline is not as great as Jesus' story, because there's never been anything made about Adam and Eve. There's no movies.
Right.
There's no like documentaries that this is what happened, because it's so far-fetched in the Catholic world that nobody even wants to touch it. Nobody wants to touch it. And, it's like,
and from my understanding, the I don't know if this is still the belief, but the story of Adam and Eve is also saying that Earth isn't as old as science says it is. They're saying it's like a couple thousand years as opposed to the billions, or I don't even think the number's bigger than billion. But so that's the other kind of argument. It's like, you can't. There's so much proof that shows that the Earth's been around for such a long time. You can't just turn away and say, no, that's not real. You can't say it's fake. You can't say people planted it. Some of the stuff has just been embedded and is exposed after earthquakes. So, there has to be, for me, there has to be some sort of a happy medium. I don't know. But again, I mean, it's hard to have these conversations with people because they take it so personally and seriously.
So serious. I mean, man, I have an aunt, rest in peace, because she's no longer with us. But man, she whipped me a new a-hole just because she like put me in a corner when she's like, hey, Eric, do you believe in the dinosaurs? I'm like, yeah. I'm like 14, 15-year-old kid who's like, yeah, I believe in the dinosaurs. She's like, do you believe in caveman? I'm like, yes, I do. Do you believe in Adam and Eve? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she's like, there's no way, because you can't believe in the caveman and believe in Adam and Eve, because God said. And she went off on this tyrant lecture on why God and Adam and Eve, not the caveman. But I'm like, my history teacher just talked about the whole caveman and the evolution, and there's proof. She goes, there's proof of Adam and Eve. And I'm like, where? I think this was the start of my I don't want to say rebellious to the Catholicism. It was just more I had a lot of questions, and nobody can answer my questions when it came to, was Adam and Eve the first people on Earth?
Yeah.
Because the Bible says it is, or the Bible say they are. The Bible says they're the first people on Earth. And they populated, what are we now, like billions of people later on, billions. And again.
Yeah, I
can't.
That tough upbringing, same here. As soon as you start asking questions, it's like, oh, that's blasphemous. I'm like, no, I'm just asking, what if? Like,
what if
could be, a possibility. And the thing we have to remember too, the Bible was written by men,
Yeah.
from Jesus's time or after Jesus's time, 2,000 years ago. But it was written by human beings that who this is what second, third, fourth hand account, and then redone again with the New Testament. So it's kind of hard to take their word for it, fact, every
Yeah.
little thing, because let's face it, back then they didn't understand a lot of things. So their way of explaining these things were through stories and religion. And
Yeah.
you go back further, even before them, natives, they explain a lot of things that they don't understand. The sun, the moon, those are gods. The stars, they're gods.
Yeah.
Who's to say they're wrong? I don't know. But I'm just saying, when we don't understand something, we find ways to explain it and make it make sense. And I think it's okay as we evolve our ideas of what's out there and what created us evolve too. I personally think it's healthy. And you even see it there. They're like these scientist priests now. There's like a sect of the Vatican that
Yeah.
studies science, very, very
That's
closely.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's cool, honestly. I mean, that shows to me that the church is finally kind of coming to terms with there may be some things out there that
We can't explain.
we need to
Yeah.
update.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those, like in the last podcast what we did when we talked about, conspiracy theories and all this stuff. This is one big conspiracy theory that we should have talked about, because, the Catholic Church is still trying to, embed in our head that the Adam and Eve story is the real story. This is all, what happened. But again, Darwin's theory makes a little more sense. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of far fetched for me to think, okay, we started off as a little tadpole, got tired, jumped in, grew legs, and then eventually grew arms, and eventually evolved into, standing on two legs. I mean, that part of the theory was kind of like, okay, yeah, okay. I had to like reread this so many times because I was like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that you came out of the water and decided I don't want to live here anymore and I want to walk on 2 feet. I don't believe that theory, but I do believe that we did evolve off of something.
Yeah.
Whether it's apes, whether it's monkeys, we did evolve from them. We didn't evolve from Adam and Eve. I mean, that's just my thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
we just didn't spawn out of thin air. At least I don't think we did.
And every story that we watch on Adam and Eve, every book that we read, elegant. They lived this nice life. Maybe they didn't have underwear, so they're wearing leaves and all that stuff. But if you look at caveman Neanderthals, they were more barbaric. They were willing to kill, whatever. And I'm thinking this is the reason why they didn't want that storyline in the Bible. It's funny. My name is Eric, E-R-I-C, right? E-R-I-C. And I know the history of my name and how my name was evolved. The original Eric came from the Vikings, right? E-R-I-K. And Eric, Eric the Great, Eric the Viking, Eric the Red. But when the Catholics wanted to use that name, Eric, they didn't want to associate themselves with, killers and murderers and rapists. So they said, you know what, let's drop this K and let's add the C. And the C is supposed to be for Catholics, right?
Okay.
So when you see a name like Eric with a C, we're just kind of like, whatever. If you see the name with a K, they're from Scandinavia, they're from Sweden, and they have some sort of red hair, they're Vikings. So it's funny because the little things the Catholics or the Catholic community would do to change things around, the name alone, they changed because they didn't want to be associated with Vikings. Now, if we look at this Adam and Eve story, right? I'm assuming, okay, there was an Adam and Eve, there was, but they were cave dwellers. They were, people killers. They were doing all that stuff, but the Bible's like, no, we don't want to say that. We want to be in a forest where they have apples and we have people coming down giving us gifts and here and there. That's what the Bible wanted us to listen to, wanted us to hear. Of course, we're Catholics, we're like, whoa, that is so cool.
No, that's definitely like that's a good point. Like I mentioned before, it's actually men who wrote the book. So back then it was known that they would take out things that they didn't like, that they didn't feel was in line with the Catholic religion.
Yeah.
Jesus and Mary Magdalene, right? Um,
Oh man.
it's come out over the years when they found, I forget was it the Dead Sea Scrolls, that
Yeah.
supposedly, she was in a relationship with Jesus, and that she was actually one of his apostles, and it was like she was his equal and also preached with him. The church was like,
No way.
no way. This, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We can't have this. And so what do? They bottle up, hide it in a cape somewhere,
Yeah.
and someone finds it thousands of years later. So yeah, I could easily see that, them not, liking this picture.
Yeah.
There's just, no, this can't be. We need to, it needs to fit this narrative and not that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like newspapers and media and social media
Yeah.
today. They the papers and TV, they want you to, they want to paint the picture that they want you to see,
Yeah.
not the actual. So
I mean, the movie Da Vinci Code, if you've seen the movie Da Vinci Code, that to me was probably the best explanation of, Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ. And there's one line that Tom Hanks says, God was a man. Man has needs. So the Catholic Church was like, no, God was pure and he didn't have to have those needs. I'm like, I call bullshit on that, because every man in the world, I mean, you're seeing all these priests right now that's getting arrested because they can't keep it in their pants.
Mm-hmm.
So every man in the world has urges, has needs.
Yeah.
So if you're God and you have apostles, airport styles, I don't know, like I'm not even saying
Abercrombie's.
Yeah, Abercrombie's and Fitch. If you have those guys running around you, and you have that one female,
Mm-hmm.
that one female, you're like, oh my God, your hair, you smell different than these stinky men, and whoa, what's this? You don't have this between,
Yeah.
Then of course you're gonna have that urge to, and I'm pretty sure God, got his little, his little thing, and then there's kids and there's, storylines, and again, watch the Da Vinci Code, the first one,
Mm-hmm.
and to me that movie got me somewhat religious because of what they said. And Da Vinci Code, if you read the books of the Da Vinci Code, that dives into more details of, the whole bloodline and everything like that, right?
Yeah. Dan Brown, he's the author. He's genius, because he took facts, he took stories from the Bible, and he took conspiracy theories and intertwined them all together in a way that made it really believable, and made people question, and made the church kind of like, hey, shut up, guy, you're saying too much.
Hey.
Because I'm pretty sure that's how they speak in the Vatican, or they're Italian.
Be quiet. Shut up.
Hey, shut up over there.
Shut up. It's not that Italian. That's the New York. That's the New York precinct, man.
Sorry, Father.
That's the. Oh man, that's the Sopranos church right there. Fada, what you say, Fada? Oh man, but again, it's one of those things where the church, the Catholic Church, is willing to cover up everything to make it more, again, elegant. Catholics, we're supposed to be elegant people. We're supposed to live that elegant lifestyle. And if we're not, supposedly like, oh, he's the black sheep of the Catholic family, Yeah. I mean, but it's I don't know. I mean, it's like, did they cover up what Adam and Eve really is and just try to say the story that we want to hear growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what it is? I mean, I don't,
I think so.
I don't know.
I think that's part of it. I mean, even Jesus, they make so much of it because he's our God and we worship him. They forget to, or not that they forget, I think they choose not to show a lot of the human side of him. You hear the stories about his childhood, and then there's a big gap, his teens, his 20s, and then he comes back and he's crucified at 33. So there's a big chunk of his life that we don't know. You can't tell me that, like you said, he didn't have needs, he didn't mess up, he didn't do certain things, but they don't want to humanize him. We need to just to make him a deity, and that's how we see him. But I don't know, like you said, I call BS. I I think he was human. He was a carpenter. Probably had a wife. Made mistakes.
Could have been
Yeah. Guy got drunk.
Smoking that funny whatever they're smoking back then.
Turning water into wine at every party. Like, you get some wine, you get some wine. So, I mean.
I got a theory about that. Someone told me, someone said, like, explain that theory. How did he turn water into wine? It's like, dude, he fucking spiked the water.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, nowadays, if you want to take a little something and put a little, flavor in your water, you get those little packets and whatever fruity flavor you can have, right? Mm-hmm. Back then, I'm pretty sure there was a little something that he put in people's water. It's like, what does this taste like to you? It's like, oh, it tastes like wine. It's like, there you go. So like, but if you have followers that believe in what he's doing and what he does, 99% of the followers would be like, yo, man, he just turned this water into wine out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because they believe in him, right?
Yep.
I mean, this is going off the topic. We should do a Jesus podcast about, Jesus. I mean, but people followed him. Mm-hmm. People believed him. And that's why this is where we are right now, where we read the Bible. We read everything that's written in the Bible because that's what they want us to believe.
Right.
And I'm sorry, there's a couple people who don't believe in certain things. It's not that I don't believe in a lot of the Bible. Mm-hmm. I do believe in parts of the Bible. There's just certain things that I can't, like Adam and Eve is one of those things that I can't figure out. Right. How did you say you're the first ones? And here we are with caveman. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I get how it may be hard for some people to believe or understand Darwinism, because like you said,
Darwinism, I love that name.
How do we evolve from fish and things like that? That's hard to believe. But then you look at, from what I understand of Darwinism, he's saying that all organisms or animals, whatever, evolve over time to adapt to their surroundings, the environment, whatever, and it's survival of the fittest. And that's how animals get to be where they are today, and that explains why some animals are extinct and things like that. I was watching this documentary, I forget the name, it's something like how an octopus saved my life or something like that. And this guy finds he likes scuba diving or whatever, and he finds this octopus that's off the beach near where he lives, and he's just, for whatever reason, just amazed by this thing, and he goes to visit this thing every day and document it. And he starts to form this relationship with this octopus, and it's amazing. There's a part where he's looking for it, and the octopus looks like what you would think was playing with fish. It's a school of fish around there, and it's kind of jumping towards it. And then it sees him, and I kid you not, runs toward him, and for lack of a better term, hugs him. It just grabs him right on his chest. It's on Netflix. It's a top 10, I think, and wraps its tentacles around him, and the guy's just kind of sitting there petting it. And I'm like, that's freaking nuts, for one.
It is.
How amazingly smart this animal is. But there's a part where they show where it's being chased by, I believe, a shark or something like that. And it gets to this point where it actually comes out of the water and kind of moves along on land to get away from the shark, and can, go, I forget how much time outside of water, and looks, for the lack of a better term, like it's walking, on land, and then makes its way back into the water on the other side. And, I think to myself, man, what if this happens enough over time, and eventually their body in some way, their DNA can change, and they adapt to the outside world, outside of the ocean. And it makes you think, okay, well, is it possible that something like this happened on Earth that forced all the animals out of the water? It's something to think about. I mean, I know it's hard to really understand. And I don't know if science has it all figured out. I don't know, but I just think that's the most accepted theory right now in science is Darwin's. So
I mean, I'm going to go back to what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, where the government knows more than they want to tell us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure somewhere in their secret files, they have the true Adam and Eve story. They have the true Darwin's theory. All that is hidden, but they don't want us to see it, or they don't want to show us because, like you said before, we as humans are not ready for what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Your theory that the whole octopus story, man, I was just like, yeah, what if, an octopus stays out long enough, or what if he's smart enough to be like, hey, this out of the water thing is pretty cool. I wonder how long we as humans jump in the ocean and we see how long we can stay without, all this. So how do we know that animals, fishes, these people aren't doing the same thing? And yeah, that theory, his theory could be plausible.
Yeah. And there are mammals that live in the ocean all their life, but need oxygen, need to come up for air, so I think he started coming up with his theory when he visited the Galapagos Islands, where it's so untouched, and you literally with your eyes can see in certain parts where evolution kind of made its way, and like something like a seal or something like that, which is almost like maybe halfway from evolving. It's a mammal, looks like a dog but has fins, needs to breathe air, but cute and cuddly, like, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a sea dog. So.
It's sea dog. I mean, I would never touch touch a seal, man. No way.
No, but
I'm afraid of those guys. How big seals are. When they're this small, yes, but when they're like, they outweigh you, no, there's no way I'm gonna touch a seal, man. No way.
Yeah, please, people, don't touch the seals when you see
but
them.
Joe told me to. Joe said they're really small and cuddly. No, but man, I mean, this goes back to the mermaid stories that we're talking about. How do we know that at one point we did all live in the ocean and we did all have gills, and you had that one guy that said, I'm tired of the ocean, I'm gonna see what this land thing is about. And next we're walking on 2 feet, we're breathing regular air. I mean, hell, if Ariel can do it in The Little Mermaid, so can all the other mermaids, right?
And you know what, I gotta say, when we had that episode, I said I did not believe in mermaids.
Yes, you did.
Now that we're talking about this,
I got flack for that too, man. I got flack for you not believing mermaids.
But now that we're talking about this, I don't know. I mean, maybe mermaids are one of those like kind of in between species, like the sea dog, and maybe they can travel deeper down into the ocean than we can go, right? Because there's still a lot of the ocean.
Dude, they're called seals. I'm calling them sea dogs. They're sea lions, man. How do they go from lions to dogs?
They're sea puppies. Look at their face. They're nice and cute. Nothing like a lion.
They bark like a damn lion, man. Well, actually, no, that sounds like a dog.
Exactly.
I give up, man. I give up. Oh, man. How the hell did we get to sea lions talking about the theory of evolution?
That's science for you. See, that's why it's hard for people.
This is why it's called the Ordinary Joes and not the Smart Ordinary Joes, because we're just talking about whatever.
This is how we talk about science.
Catholics are like, you guys had me till you started talking about the dogs.
I think we just offended both sides. Science and religion. They're just like, these guys are idiots.
Now I'm going to get somebody texting us going like, they're not dogs.
Yeah.
They're
gonna sorry give us for the sea lion lovers.
They're going to give us the long name. They're called amphibious. Yes. Sea lions.
The Latin term.
Oh, man. But again, it goes back to Adam and Eve. Were they the first humans on Earth? And if they were, I guarantee none of the pictures that we see of them, with the apple tree and looking all, Adam looking a little pudgy but still looking a little buff. I guarantee they weren't that clean.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure they had some, some hair.
Yeah.
Probably like, stuff like that.
Tarzan type.
Tarzan, yeah. They had the long face and probably had the big skull. You know, the way whatchamacallats look. The way what word am I looking for? The way Neanderthals look, cavemans look.
Yeah.
You know? People from Australia, you know, those Aborigines.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, what do you think? What would it take? Maybe like what sort of proof do you think someone would need to prove that Adam and Eve existed? Right? Because I mean, we have tons of proof that shows dinosaurs and fossils and erosion, all these things. But like, is there something that someone found that would be like, wait a minute, I think this is Adam and Eve? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of would be kind of hard to.
Oh man, we're talking about what? How many years ago? How many years? We're talking about 900 something years ago. I'm thinking, it could be that long ago. Now, if we can't even find proof of Noah's Ark, like that's still one of those things that they can't find. How the hell are they going to find proof of Adam and Eve? I mean, we're talking about bones that's probably like, you know, over 1,000 years old. That's already like turned into dust. We're not going to find any scripture on them because, you know, Cain and Abel were, you know, they were like the kids that I don't know. Cain and Abel's a whole podcast on its own. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to have to take a shroud like what they found with Jesus Christ for me to say, okay, Adam and Eve is real.
Yeah.
Okay, this is real. This is, you know, this is how it started. But yeah, it's going to be a stretch for me.
Yeah, me too. I think if they were maybe to find, say, some sort of Homo sapien fossil or bones that predates dinosaurs or something, you know, something like that, but I don't, again, that would be really hard to prove.
But see, okay, let's go back to that, what you just said. How do we not know that Adam and Eve didn't live during the dinosaur age? You know, there's a possibility that they could have. It's not written in the Bible that the dinosaurs were roaming around during their time, because supposedly the dinosaurs and Adam and Eve did not, supposedly, you know, Adam and Eve was supposed to be the first beings on this earth. So no dinosaurs, no none of that. But how do we know that these fossils that they have in these museums all over the world, how do we know one of them or two of them is not Adam and Eve's?
Right.
You know, it's a possibility that one of those or two of them could be them. But again, the authorities, Catholics, Secret Service, all these people don't want us to know, like, no, because you know what? If we did this, then it's going to cause this whole shit show of the, Catholicism.
Right.
So this is, you know, Agnes and this is Lester. That's what we're calling them, you know?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it goes back to like what I was saying. It's the Bible, you know, science explains what the Bible can't explain, you know, and I think the first animals were the dinosaurs and the first people were cavemen. And I think that's what the Bible will refer to as Adam and Eve, you know, but they couldn't, like you said, they couldn't say they were, you know, part animal pretty much. I mean, that's essentially what the cavemen were, you know, and we still haven't found the missing link, that one that connects us to, I forget, I don't know the technical names, but you know, Homo erectus and
Homo erectus versus Homo sapiens,
right? So,
or if you're in San Francisco, just never mind, I'm not going there. but yeah, I mean, there's proof for me. There's proof that, you know, Darwin's theory is true versus the Adam and Eve theory that a lot of people want to believe. Trust me, I want to believe Adam and Eve. I do. That's how I grew up. But Darwin's theory with the evolution of man and how man got started, to me, sits a little more plausible than Adam and Eve's supposedly, you know, theory.
Yeah.
And I can't fathom in my head, and I'm using the big word fathom, is, you know, God decided to take a rib away from Adam to create women. That's why we only, I don't know, supposed to have whatever, how many ribs, whatever.
Right.
But that to me, sci-fi right there, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I mean, yeah, Darwin's theory is not as you know, sci-fi as well.
Yeah.
But to take one rib and make that rib into a female because he needed companion is like, God, man, how?
Yeah.
Really?
And that is almost it's very chauvinistic too, you know, because it's showing in a subtle way that, you know, men dominate over women. You know, they're from us. They were made for us. You know what I mean? So again, I think that's humans writing what they wanted other people to believe, not necessarily
not just humans, but about men.
Exactly, men.
Yeah, men writing all this stuff.
You know. So, and it's like the telephone game, right? You know, you've played that as a kid where some person starts something off and they whisper it in everyone's ear, and by the time it gets to you, it's completely different from what you said. I kind of feel like that's part of it. It's a lot of it for me at when you're talking about that age when you start questioning things and I believe for different reasons, you know, things that have happened in my life and I had nothing else but religion and prayer, and it worked. And so I have my reasons as to why I believe it, but at the same time I'm a realist, you know.
Yeah.
I can't help it. I read things and I can't deny the proof of things that are there. So I'll read the Bible and I look in between the lines and I try to get the overall message that it's trying to give and understand that everything isn't necessarily fact. You know, it's not a science book, and you know, science too doesn't have all the answers. They don't claim to. We're learning new things all the time. Scientists backtrack all the time. Hey, we were wrong about this 5 years ago. You know, they come back to learn something new. Oh, actually, well, it turns out we were right, but there's this though. You know, so I think as long as we're willing to learn and just be open-minded, I think we'll be all right.
But at the end, it's always that one group that wants us to believe what they want us to believe. And, you know, at the end of the day, churches, it's a business. You know, it's a business. Last year, during the whole pandemic, the proof is in the pudding. Certain churches couldn't stay open because they didn't have the parishioners that were coming in there. You know, the big, I'm talking about the big churches, you know, like the St. Dominic's and all that stuff, the St. Patrick's. But the small churches, the ones that looks like it's been built like, you know, 10, 15 years ago, a lot of those churches didn't survive because they didn't have enough people wanting to come in and you know, take the chance. Even though they were saying, you know, hey, if God is, you know, if you believe in your faith and you believe in God, you're not going to get the coronavirus. Like, sorry, man. COVID-19 was proof that anybody can get it, no matter what your religious was. But yeah, it's a business at the end of the day. And we'll go all the way to the Vatican. I mean, how the hell do you go to the Vatican? And the Vatican has one thing that always makes me laugh every time someone says that. They have a freaking gift shop. If you're supposed to go there and you're supposed to be like, oh my God, I'm in the Vatican. This is where all the popes are. And this is Pope John Paul and Pope Benedict is here. I'm going to get a shirt at the gift shop.
Yeah.
I've been to the Vatican gift shop. Yeah. Sure. I mean, because at the end, it's a business. Yeah. You know, it's a business. You're going to go there. You're going to walk out with a book and it's going to be called the Bible. But you're going to say, I got this from the Vatican. Yeah, the gift shop, not the actual, you know. Yeah. Not the actual place, you know. It's a business. So for them to say things, your whole thing about, you know, Mary Magdalene, the story has been written for thousands of years that God did not have a partner. Right. And then the proof comes out later on that maybe he did have a partner, but the Catholics are so fucking stubborn. Yeah. That they don't want to change the script. They don't want to change that. Well, you know what? Maybe he did have a wife. Yeah. You know, maybe. No, they don't want to change it. Yeah. Because now they're going to change people's faith. They're going to change people's beliefs. You're going to have priests and be like, hold on, man. You guys made me become a priest and told me to be celibate for how many years? And this guy, our leader, actually had, you know, relations?
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. If we start questioning everything, you know, where does it end? And it can all fall apart. So there a lot of it has to do with that and power and money. And I think, people just need to kind of remember where the source is coming from, and just
Yeah.
just be careful, again, I think most religions, if not all in the world, preach the same thing, right? Just be a good person,
Yeah.
love everybody, don't hurt anyone, don't be a douche.
Yeah.
I'm sure one of them say that. So, that's all it is. I just remember the overall
Yeah.
message.
Remember, the whole message is to love one another,
Yep.
right? The whole message, no matter if you believe in Darwin's theory or if you believe in Adam and Eve, the whole message, and you don't have to be Catholic to even know this, right? Even like, the Jews, they're saying it, the Muslims are saying it, be nice to each other and the whole world would get along. But at the same time, tell us what we want to know. Tell us what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Tell us the truth. So that way you don't have people like me and Joe sitting here trying to figure out what the truth is, that we're speculating this and speculating that.
Just
tell us the
confusing
truth.
people.
Yeah, you are. You're confusing these two guys who, again, in the beginning of the show, Joe said we are not trying to do anything to offend anyone. And I'm going to reiterate that right now.
Yep.
An hour into the show, we're not trying to offend anyone. This is our beliefs. This is what we believe in. So please, no hate email.
Yeah.
Don't no hate email. None of that.
Yes,
don't be
please.
like your podcast sucks because you guys don't believe it.
Yes.
Actually, you know what? If you guys do say that, thank you for listening.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for jumping on and listening to the whole thing. But we're not. This is what we believe in. This is what I believe in, and I believed in certain things for my whole life. Let me ask you this: you believe in the power of prayer, right?
I do.
How many times have you prayed? And sorry for asking, but how many times have you prayed that actually helped you moving forward? Like it kind of gave you that peace where, like, you know what, this prayer did help.
Yeah, plenty of times. I mean, probably more times than I can recall. But the thing for me with prayer, there's a couple things. A lot of times it can be comforting, right? When you're dealing with something in life that you have no control over and it's really hard. Having someone to talk to, whether it's in church or just in your room, in your head, in a way venting, and then there's the other prayers where you're asking for things. You're asking to bless your family, keep them healthy, or help you get this job, or graduate, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I find most times, if you're gonna, if you're praying for $1 million, I mean, and expecting to wake up and have $1 million bag in your house, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I've had prayers of mine answered, whether it be over time or whatever. I've had even specific things, and so that was enough for me in my life to be like, well, there's something to it. Whether I know exactly what it is and what the answers are, I don't, but I'm just going with what works.
Yeah.
And that's just been the case, my whole life. So
Yeah.
and it makes me feel better, and
Yeah.
I do, even with like this pandemic, you don't, Jesus didn't preach in the church, right? His church was everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah.
There is something to waking up Sunday early and going to church and praying with other people in your community, your peers. I just leave re-energized and feeling a lot better and more focused. And I mean, some people might call that a placebo effect. It is what it is. Whatever it is, it works for me. So,
I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, you just pretty much said everything what a lot of us wants to, whether you're Catholic, Christian, whatever. That's exactly what it is. Everybody believes in a God. Everyone believes in their God and how their God works. Their God, the story is God works in mysterious ways. He does. Your God works in mysterious ways versus, Christian God or Jewish God or Muslim God. They all work in different ways. And it's what you believe in. It's how you believe in it. And, being that this is Holy Week, we're like the most religious times of our year for us Catholics because Easter is on Sunday. We believe in certain things that we want to believe in. And, there's a lot of people that says, God didn't answer my prayer. This is why I asked you the question.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you weren't listening when he did answer the prayer.
Yeah.
He did answer your prayer in some way, but you were so focused on your Instagram posts, your Facebook posts, maybe, your fitness app that you want to do, but that you didn't listen to what he said to you. And it could have been something really small.
Yeah.
There was this story someone told me a while back. I don't know if you heard this. There was a guy in an ocean, and he's on a sinking boat, and the boat's about to sink, and he can't swim. He prays to God, asks God for help. A ship goes by. The guy waves the ship off and says, no, God's going to help me. God's going to help me. Another ship comes by. Same thing. No, God's going to help me. 4 ships goes by. The guy doesn't take any of the ships. He ends up drowning and ends up dying. He sees God's at the gate and he goes, God, I prayed to you. He goes, you didn't answer my prayer. I prayed to you. What happened? He goes, I sent you 4 ships. You waved them off. That's you. That's you're the reason why. And I'm like, whoa, when I heard that story, I'm like, there's messages that God is telling us that we as people have to listen to. We as people have to believe in, whether it's, a simple knock on the door and someone just says, oh, I apologize. I thought I had this. I mean, the little things, the little things. And I always look for that in my day to day, my day to day. Yeah. I get annoyed when someone's like, 20 minutes late for their appointment.
Right.
But there's still something that needs to be said and heard. And I listen to a lot of their stuff that says that. So, I'm being so religious right now.
Yeah, but I mean, these are why we have these conversations. Like you said, we're the ordinary Joes. These are the conversations that we have, between us, that we've had plenty of times before for hours and hours on end. And it's good when you have someone you can kind of bounce your ideas or your thoughts off of.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, this is the stuff I think about that keeps me up at night. I lay there just thinking what's beyond the stars, what's next, what's after we die, and especially during times like this with pandemic and people are getting sick and passing all around you. You can't help but think about that stuff. And so I think it's healthy to have these sort of conversations as long as you're respectful and we're respectful to each other and to people listening and we're willing to listen to each other and to you guys. If you guys have comments on anything we've said or your own points of view, let us know. That's why we're doing this, just so we can just have a conversation, but not feel some type of way and have someone yell at you and jump down your throat because of it.
It's real.
Yeah,
it's
real.
The most religious I ever got is when the one year, I don't know if you remember or if I even told you, when Trump first came into office, he did all this crazy stuff. And one of them was he moved the U.S. embassy from Israel to somewhere else. I forgot what it was. There was a big holy war that turned up. This man on the news, CNN, said, tomorrow is God, what's that religion that they don't eat for like all day? Forget what that
is it. Passover? Not Passover.
Not Passover.
Rosh Hashanah.
No, God, I did. It's
Ramadan.
Ramadan. Yes. So I did Ramadan for the whole period of Ramadan. Oh, why is this going off? Sorry. I did Ramadan for the whole period of Ramadan just because that guy said I can't do Ramadan because of what's going on. I got to keep myself healthy. And in order to fight this war, I have to have all this energy. At the same time, my coworker who's Muslim was pregnant and said, I can't do Ramadan because I have to feed the baby inside me.
Right.
So I said, you know what? I will do Ramadan for you guys.
Oh, nice.
I did. I said, I will do Ramadan for you guys. I said, I'm going to do Ramadan for the ones who couldn't do it. And I ended up getting so religious in a religion that I'm not even a part of, right? Just because those times that I wasn't eating, those times that I was fasting, you fast from sunset to sunrise, for you guys who don't know what Ramadan is, you do it for 30 days. Those times that I was fasting, I felt this spiritual encounter with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I'm not even Muslim.
Yeah.
And just imagine what these guys are going through, what they do on a daily when they have to do this. And you're pretty much starving yourself for 8 hours, sunset to sunrise. You can't put anything. You can't even put a stick of gum.
Yeah.
You can't brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You can't do any of that.
Yeah.
And I found a spiritual thing inside me for doing that.
Yeah.
And seriously, for a minute, I was thinking, man, should I convert and become Muslim?
Yeah.
No, my mom's going to kill me, but sorry, Mom, if you're listening, but I did for that 1 minute consider, because of just that 30 days that I did that. And for the people who couldn't do it, I just imagined what everyone did, for that. And again, it was a spiritual thing, man. It was probably the best thing.
Yeah, no, that's really nice of you, man. That's awesome to hear, And I think, again, that kind of echoes what I was talking about before, that doesn't matter what religion you believe in, they all preach the same thing, is to love one another. And there's something to be said about fasting, because we do it too. We're almost done with our fasting period. Lent is almost over.
Yes.
We for those of you that don't know, during Lent, we Catholics don't eat meat on Fridays, and you tend to give something up for the 40 days that means something to you, something that you like, whether it be food or it really can be anything. And really the purpose of it, of fasting, and I think it's similar to for Muslims and other religions, it's that you're proving to yourself that all I need is my God. Like, when I don't have anything, when I don't have money, when I don't have food, if I don't have a home, when it's just me left, all I need is my God. And then that's what fasting is kind of emulating and proving. And it really does. I mean, at the end of that period, I mean, that, like, Ramadan is pretty tough. I have a lot of Muslim friends, and they used to do that during school, and I know it's really rough on them. And so, yeah, I mean, that's got to be some cool experience to really be that close and in tune and focused. And I mean, it's a beautiful thing, man. That's why I love all religions. I really do. And I think I was there at one point too, kind of my early 20s, where because I had a lot of Muslim friends, I was reading books and looking into it. And I did think about, converting. It was something that I mentioned and shut up about really quick, because my mom wasn't too happy about. But at the same time, she gave me the space to figure out what it is I want and what's meant for me. And I think she was pretty confident that I would stick to our religion. But that's a great story, though. That's great to hear.
Man, I someone gave me the Quran, the book, to read, and I read it. And during the time of Ramadan, they're like, take 10 minutes, read this passage, because I guess they pray during the 10 minutes that, but I wasn't Muslim, so I couldn't pray, or I'm not Muslim, so I couldn't pray. So she just gave me the book to read. And I was like, wow, this is, this religion is totally, it's exactly, I don't want to say it's exactly the way we are as Catholics, but we have similarities on how we do our prayers and how we do certain things. Theirs is just a little more, I want to say, extreme. It's like, God, fasting for 8 hours a day, that's too extreme for me. But some people, they do it. And some, Ramadan's coming up. It's coming up in April. As soon as Easter is over, we go right into Ramadan. So for you guys who want to experience and see what it's like, hey, I say one time in your life, always try something different. And this is the biggest spiritual journey you'll ever have. And again, half of it was because, I'm starving. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. What am I going to eat? I'm looking at my watch, like, hey, what time does the sun set? I was doing that. But then the other time was like, something inside me is like, you can do it. Just think of the other people who can't do it right now. Think of the people you're doing it for. Think of why you started this. And I was like, wow, something inside me is like, you're right. You're right. And it was a spiritual thing that one day in my life, I definitely want to go visit, the, what is it in Israel where they have the big, the mount, the temple of something. It's where the UFOs always come to visit.
In Jerusalem.
Yeah, I
For you
forget the
talking
name of
about
it.
not for Muslim faith?
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
not
For
Mecca, is it?
Muslim.
Or
Mecca is it's Mecca's the place, but there's a temple. I don't know where
okay.
that temple is, where everyone goes, and that's where they go during this time during Ramadan. It's like that's where everybody
Is
is.
that like it looks kind of like a almost like the Coliseum, like it's just like a big open area, and there's like
Yeah.
this kind
People,
of thing in the center that everyone
yes,
prays.
yes,
I know what you're
yeah.
talking about.
I want to say it's called the Temple Mount. I apologize if yeah, it's something like that. But yeah, one day I do want to visit that just to go check it out, just to see what it was like, what it's like, and see how it goes from there, man. But man,
Man,
man, this is why we're the ordinary Joes.
been
We
deep.
talk about been deep. You guys who are celebrating this week for Holy Week, celebrate. This is kind of the first time we all got to celebrate, something. Last year during the pandemic, as soon as we went into shelter in place, I said, I'm not going to give up anything. Whatever I gave up, I'm throwing out the window just because I needed to find a way to mentally keep myself sane.
Right.
And me having to think about, okay, I'm not going to drink soda today because that's what I gave up for 40 days.
Yep.
I said, I'm not going to do that. I threw that out last year. This year I didn't really follow the Lent just because I did the whole Ash Wednesday thing. Good Friday's this Friday. But I didn't follow the whole I'm going to give things up for Lent. Usually it's a spiritual thing for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this up because this is what I want to do. I just, I still say spiritual to myself. I pray before I eat, pray before I go to sleep, pray for waking up in the morning. I do all that stuff.
Yeah, that's what counts.
Yeah.
And just, I want everyone to remember, no matter what religion you believe in, if you just believe in science, Darwinism, whatever it is, just remember they all say the same thing, that we all come from the same thing, from whatever it is, we're related.
Yeah.
So just remember that, even though we may look different, we may eat different, we may dance different, we're all human beings and we're the same. So, just love each other.
Our great grandparents is Adam and Eve. Just remember that. Adam and Eve. We're all related one way or the other.
One way or another.
Some Game of Thrones thing that we're talking about here, It's
I mean, come on, you can't see the
related.
resemblance with me and Eric. We're like twins.
Yeah, I just grew my hair out. That's the only difference. I grew my hair out.
I just put mine down here. That's all.
Yeah, his hair's growing down there where I can't grow it down here, so I try to grow it up here. But other than that, we look identical.
Yin and yang.
Oh man, this has been fun, man. This has been fun. And
really
again,
was.
to reiterate what Joe said, the whole purpose of religion is not to believe in one thing, but to believe that we all have to find a way to get along with each other. I wish the Democrats and Republicans can do that, but they can't.
We'll get there. I have faith. I have faith that we might not be around, but I have faith at some point we'll get it together.
It's funny you mentioned that because today at work we were talking about the Filipino God, what is he? Man, hold on. I got to open up my Facebook. Sorry, this is what happens when we don't prepare for things.
It's off the fly.
Off the fly. The Filipino Assemblyman, the Attorney General, first Filipino Attorney General that Gavin Newsom picks.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Rob Bonta.
Yeah.
Hope I'm saying your name right. Bonta, Filipino is Bonta. It's Bonta, Rob Bonta. But man, this guy is my age. His birthday is the same year as me, which is 72, for you guys who wants to know. He was born in the same city I was born in the Philippines.
Oh, cool.
It's a possibility he was born in the same hospital that I was born in.
Wow.
So, shout out to the Filipinos who are coming up. And too bad he can't be president because he wasn't born in the United States.
Yeah,
but
I disagree with that. It doesn't make sense to me. But
he could be governor.
That's whole another.
Oh my God, we should bring that up and talk about that in the topic because there's a lot of non-American born people that I would like to see become president.
Yeah.
And no, Arnold's not one of them.
No, I wouldn't have mind, but no, he's not.
No.
It's not one.
I will take the taxes and I will terminate them.
The presidentator.
It's the worst Arnold impression
Yes.
ever. I'll be back with a better one.
It sounds like Arnold doing a JFK impersonation.
Sounds like a Filipino Arnold. That's what it sounds like. That's my Tito Arnold. That's not
Tito
Arnold.
Ar-
That's my Tito Arnold. That's exactly what he sounds like. But yeah, man, this has been fun. Again, apologize for not being here last week. We're gonna do things differently this time. We're gonna start posting, or we're gonna start doing things on Mondays.
Yep.
So you're gonna see this on Monday evenings, and then Tuesdays the rest of the week. We usually started doing things on Sundays, but Sundays just get a little too hectic.
Yeah.
So
scheduling issues.
new schedule. Mondays is when the Ordinary Joes is going to be published. You're going to be seeing podcast vlogs on Mondays. But until next week, man, it was fun. It's been fun. It's been fun, man. I love these kind of things. We got deep into this whole thing, man.
We're not all just silly joke. Well, we're always silly jokes, but
silly jokes. Yeah.
It's not just movies and music.
I feel like I need to go somewhere and get a pipe right now because I just need to feel that like, geez. Don't be sending me stuff, guys. Don't be like, hey, man, you got to try this.
Yeah, you
got to try this. Is legit,
I'm always gonna go finish. That's usually my routine. That's the other God I pray to.
And for you guys who sent me that penis enhancement email and put my email as one of those things, man, I'm gonna say this right now, and I apologize because we did just talk about religion, but fuck you guys.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Someone used my email, my personal email, and all of a sudden I'm getting like, grow this in 3 days. I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I looked into it, and it said I actually jumped on and tried to subscribe. I'm like, wow.
Nice.
I guess this is why you don't give your emails to certain people.
That's a pretty funny prank, though. If someone did do that. You're giving me ideas.
April Fool's is coming around the corner, man. It's coming around the corner. For us who likes to prank people, this is what we got to do.
Let's go. This is your time.
Eric's
Joe, email is now.
I got Joe's email. I got all of Joe's email. What are we talking about? Please don't send anything to the Ordinary Joes at podcast@gmail.com. Don't send anything there.
We don't need penis enhancement emails to the Ordinary Joe's email.
But if you guys want to send us some, some of the stuff to make us unwind, and I'll be more than happy.
Always welcome.
Always welcome for that. But man, until next week, this has been fun. We'll come back next week with another topic and hopefully something cool.
Yep.
Something cool. Till then,
peace.
We are the Ordinary Joes. See ya.
The Ordinary Joes Podcast.